Welcome to Live from My Office. This is our final episode of the year because we're very busy. Not as busy as Santa Claus, no. We're very busy getting ready, not at the North Pole, no, right here in my office. Getting ready for our big New Year's show at the Rouse Center. Rouse Center, R-A-U-E, center.org for tickets on New Year's Eve. The very funny Mike Toomey from WGN TV's Morning News. John DaCosse and Tim Benker from Zanies. And, of course, John DaCosse from the Steve Cochran Show on the Big 89 WLS, 5:30 to 9 every morning. Stream it wherever you stream live audio. So now that you know all that, know that what you're going to hear here are the four of us getting together to talk about the show, talk about the year, talk about our Christmas and holiday memories, and talk about some really uncomfortable things that we find funny because we're juvenile. Again, it's rauecenter.org, R-A-U-E center.org. Get there and get your tickets. It's 2 o'clock on New Year's Eve because unlike the other shows, we care about you. We want to free up your dinner and your evening where you can do whatever you want or do nothing at all. After we guarantee you're going to have a great time laughing at us and even point, if you like, at the big show at the Rau Center. Rau Center, R-A-U-E center.org. All right, here we go. It's Mike Toomey, John DaCosse, Tim Benker, and me talking about the holidays and getting ready for New Year's Eve on Live from My Office. Well, it's an annual tradition that everybody looks forward to when the four fathers of comedy get together for kind of a Christmassy, New Year's Eve look, a get-together. It's kind of a mini Christmas special by way of Zoom. And Merry Christmas to all of you, fellas.
Same to you, Steve.
You as well.
And Happy Hanukkah, because we all know people who are Jewish.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely. I'm related to some.
And
very closely.
Yes.
And you know, everybody else that we haven't covered, good luck. Good luck to you as well. Let me introduce everybody. John DaCosse. Tell everybody about you, John. Who are you and what do you do?
I work for Northwest Carpet Cleaning. I own that company. I've owned it for about 15 years. Oh, no, wait.
Right. No, that's Tim Benker, who we'll meet in just a second. John, you're a nationally renowned touring stand-up comedian, very famous, and for some odd reason, particularly big in Ohio. Have we ever figured that out?
Yes, I'm amazed, and I leave there for this week. I go to Ohio, so they keep asking me to come back, and I keep going. I'm just, best in Ohio. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, why do they love you in Ohio?
Because I don't take money.
I don't think that's also wrong.
It's a swing state thing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
So it's political. I didn't know that.
And I'm a swinger. I'm a swinger.
Right.
Always have.
Tim, you actually do own a carpet cleaning company. If that's only a kind of a money laundering thing, right?
It definitely is. And it doesn't sound like much after John had said it a few minutes ago. But yes, I do own Northwest Carpet Cleaning in our 21st year.
Well, congratulations. And if there's one tip you could share with everybody listening now about cleaning carpets, what is it?
Don't drink red wine if you're on a high wire.
Okay. All right.
Right.
You doing a lot of, you got like a contract with Cirque du Soleil we didn't know about, or?
I do. And, I'm just wrapping up, cleaning up the rest of the Ringling Brothers as they're winding down their business. So yes, no red wine on the high wire.
Which of the Ringling Brothers was the most sloppy? Was it Harpo, Zeppo? Which one?
No, actually, no. That was the Marx Brothers, and they were messy too, for different reasons.
Do you know which Marx brother makes the biggest mess on carpeting? Skid.
Skid.
I see. Tim Benker is also an internationally renowned stand-up comedian and a former radio brother from time on the air in Las Vegas and Dallas. And,
Houston, it was
or Houston, and a brief prison stint in Albuquerque.
Exactly. My eldest son was born in Houston when I was doing radio there. So
that's as good a cover as any.
So he was 9 months old when I got fired from my radio job.
Fired. That's cute. One time. You're a rookie. And that other voice you heard is Mike Toomey, and Mike's way funnier than the thing you just said.
Mark. Actually, my real name is Kent. I'm a 38-year-old flight attendant from Wichita. I've been married to Jan for 14 years, and we have 2 lovely children, Gary and Glenn.
And you've played the home version of this game before?
Yes.
Well, we're glad to have you here. Remember, vowels always count and are expensive. I want to talk about Christmas for a second, if we could. You know, we're all about the same age. We are the 4 fathers. We're fathers. Am I the only grandfather? Wink, wink. Mike, am I the only one?
As of August 31st, I joined the club.
Nice.
Which is fantastic. Thank you. You have a lovely granddaughter named Gabriella. She's 3 months old. Fantastic.
Have you changed the diaper yet?
I have not one of hers. No.
How about your own? Have you changed?
No, I volunteer over at the nursing home twice a week. So I stay in practice.
That's such a cool hobby of yours that you turned on with.
Yeah, it's not volunteer. It's a hobby. I do it. You know.
That's where he
originally like to do. Some people glue popsicle sticks together and make things. I go over to the convalescence center and change diapers.
Yeah, the weird thing is you've always called it your way of giving back, and I never understood that.
Right. I do it for me. I'm going to be honest. It's my hobby.
Well, that's great. I mean, everybody needs to stay busy.
Model planes. My
granddaughter Abigail is about to turn 8, and I babysat her when she was the same age as Gabriella. And a lot for the first couple of years. And I did change diapers. So maybe at some point during this very special Christmas special we're doing right now, maybe you could change a diaper.
I will.
Yeah. Do you need help? Is that why you haven't done one?
No, it just hasn't come up. Whenever we're with the baby, they're here, the parents are here, or the couple occasions that we were, my wife did it. So Mike said, let me handle it.
It's just another reason that women are the greatest thing ever, because they'll dive right in. They'll dive in.
Yeah. But Mike, you'll save all that poop, right? For later, just as a keepsake. Yeah,
there are things you can do with it for sure.
Yeah. Well, crafting, apparently it's a big thing for you.
It's called crafting, actually. Yeah.
Hey, Steve.
Like I said, Mike will be much funnier on New Year's Eve.
Come on. Hey, this is gold. I'm spinning gold here.
Steve, I was going to ask you, how old is Isaac, your grandson?
Isaac is 4 years old, and he's a genius, and nothing is funnier than pooping. As a matter of fact, last weekend during a FaceTime call with Isaac and his attorney, last weekend with a FaceTime call with Isaac, I said, "What's the most fun thing you did today?" And he went, "Well, I accidentally pooped my pants." And then he laughed. And then Ross, his dad, my son, said, "No, you didn't. You didn't." He goes, "Well, then I must have accidentally peed my pants." So he was breaking out the A material. It's the greatest. I mean, being a grandfather is the greatest.
Mike Toomey writes for him, so
we go to the same writing class.
That's fantastic. The reason we're all together is not just because we're good friends, and we are, but also because we have a New Year's Eve show coming up at a very early time. John, do you have any idea? I don't know if anybody's got the ticket information. John, do you have it?
No. Yes, I do.
I don't need a ticket. I don't need a ticket because I'm going to be in the show, so I have no idea.
Don't count on it. You may need one.
It is our 21st year. We are at the Rouse Center in Crystal Lake, and they can get tickets at rousecenter.org. They can call the box office at 815-356-9212. That is a 2:00 afternoon show for people who can't stay up until 3:30.
We originally started in the concept was people that can't stay awake until midnight. And then it was people that can't stay awake until the second show because we didn't have second shows anymore. It was people that can't stay awake until the last dose of meds for the day. And this is people that can't stay awake until what, dinner?
Well, last year we were a 3:00 show. We were trying to get people who had just finished lunch. We moved it up an hour earlier to get the brunch crowd.
Hmm.
We're kind of like that sitcom that's getting moved to Saturday night. I think in a year or two, we're done.
Well, it's funny. His tickets are selling great. I mean, everybody seems to love this idea of a 2:00 show because a lot of people around 60 or older, because all ages are welcome, they seem to say, well, this gives me an opportunity to do something later, which is a complete lie, because you won't.
Mhm.
You'll do this at 2 and you'll go home and you'll stay home, and that's fine.
Well, I will say there's a real buzz over at the Convalescent Center about this show.
Well, that's fantastic. How do we get tickets, John?
You could go to raucenter.org. That's RAUE, or you can contact the box office directly at 815-356-9212.
You know, we call this a special event because it is, because we don't get a chance to do stand-up together that often. And since it's a Christmas special, I thought I'd throw this out to the crowd here, and that'd be the three of you. We all grew up in the 70s, and to some extent the 80s. But was there a Christmas special that stood out that was an annual tradition, the one you really, really had to see and loved to see, or a Christmas movie even?
For me, it was Rudolph, because my memory of the Rankin Bass Rudolph show, it's the first program I ever saw in color. Our neighbors 2 doors down had a color TV, and I got to go down there and watch Rudolph at his house. So it's always kind of stuck with me as being one of my favorites.
We had a color TV, but my father smoked so much, everything was gray and white anyway. That's all you could see. No, and that's the Island of Misfit Toys, right?
Yes, Charlie in the Box.
Charlie in the Box. Oh, not
No
Jack
one
in the
wants
Box,
to-
Charlie. That's right.
Nobody wants to play with a Charlie in the Box.
What was the dentist's name?
Hermie. And that's one of those he wanted to be the dentist, and that's one of those ongoing things where is it Herbie or is it Hermie? But it is Hermie.
Yeah.
And if you'll notice, he's the only elf with a regular nose and non-pointy ears.
Oh, okay. They had an Etch-a-Sketch with no sand, right? No magnetic sand, nothing inside.
And a squirt gun that squirted jelly or something.
Jelly, right. So the discussion that has gone on at my house, we never figured out what was wrong with the doll. She resembled a Raggedy Ann because she had red hair and a cloth face and a checkered dress. What was wrong with that doll?
Oh, I think in the 60s, didn't they hate redheaded children?
That could be.
Yeah, I mean, that redheaded stepchild thing. I think that comes from the fact that redheads were outcasts.
They hated him.
That's a really good question. I don't know. I can't answer that.
I don't know what was wrong with her.
Was she the caregiver? Did she just go there because she liked the toys that were abnormal?
I don't know, but I think there was a hatred for redheaded children, and we're here to stop it.
Okay.
What about you, Tim? Did you have a Christmas special or movie you loved?
It was the Charlie Brown Christmas. And our listeners who are probably around our age realize that, yeah, it was on once a year. And you had to be there. You had to be there at 7 o'clock after dinner. The dishes were done. You sit down. You got to wait for that special to come on. You can't go over and turn on one of your streaming services and go watch it willy-nilly or pop in a DVD. No, you had to be. We love Charlie Brown because it had that little element in there. The negative side of Christmas, when people are mean, no matter what time of year it is, because they were just brutal to Charlie Brown. And,
but that also is the one. I mean, that was a groundbreaking special at the time because nobody saw it coming. Where they had the Snoopy, Charlie Brown, Lucy, everybody at an office party. Lucy got drunk and kind of horny, and that's the first night that Charlie hit that. Charlie, as he liked to be called when he drank.
Chuck.
Yeah, but he missed. He missed. She pulled away at the last second.
I have to say,
so she held perfectly still, and just when he got close enough, she
she made a roll. I think I am in the minority when I say this. I know, but I just disliked Charlie Brown because as a kid, when you knew a cartoon was coming on, you wanted it. You thought it was going to be different than that. That strikes me as like a Zoloft commercial that lasts for 30 minutes. You know, it was just, he was always so depressed and downtrodden, and then Lucy treated him like crap. And I'm just like, how is this fun? I didn't like it.
Did you scream that at the TV? Because it was a 3-channel universe. It's not like you could watch anything else unless it was a Billy Graham crusade.
Right.
You know, Steve, mine is not really a special, but I don't know if I'm assuming you didn't get this in New York, but it would have been waking up. I knew Christmas was coming because it was Hard Rock Coco and Joe, Susie Snowflake, and Frosty the Snowman on the Ray Rayner show. And I could watch it every morning just to see whatever popped up. That was the best.
Would you get something like everything? The currency when we were kids was box tops. And I don't know what kind of scam that was, but if you cut the top of the cereal box top off and you saved enough of me to send them in, you got something. Did you get something for watching it? Did they offer a premium?
No, it was just, he would go to it. Mike, you probably have better memory of that, or Tim. He would just go and it would just pop up and it would be one of the three.
Right.
And what a way to start before I went to school.
Yeah, Garfield Goose would show it. I remember that as well. But it was, they were, it was, what was that called? Centaur Productions or something? Yeah. And they had a very distinctive look, the characters did. And you ask anybody that grew up around here in our age range, and it's like branded into your memory.
So we had Captain Kangaroo, and I know you guys had Captain Kangaroo as well, but with the how deeply embedded Bozo was, I don't even know if they ran Captain Kangaroo in this market. If they did, I'm sure nobody watched it in Chicago. But if you sent enough box tops, Mr. Moose would take you for the weekend.
He would.
Oh wow, we didn't have that. We didn't have that.
I don't know. I guess I'd go to a movie. I really like It's a Wonderful Life, but am I the only one who thinks that Jimmy Stewart is overrated as an actor?
I don't feel that he is. I mean, especially in that movie. I mean, I can't imagine anybody else playing that role.
And especially given the circumstances.
Except Donnie Most.
Especially given the circumstances.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know what, Steve? I'm confused as to why, because he totally reinvented himself. He was an actor in the 30s. He was in some musicals. He was in some lighthearted stuff, and then in the 40s, he played that with It's a Wonderful Life. But he had so many classic movies, Philadelphia Story, and then you go to the 50s, and he was this king of westerns, and he played this hard, sort of hard-ass western guy. So my biggest regret was I was in Fort Worth at a Funny Bone, and he was signing books, and we thought the line was too long. We should have gone. I never got to meet him. I would have.
Listen, I did meet him. Could not be a nicer guy.
Mm-hmm.
Could not be a nicer man. Could not have been classier. It's just, maybe it's that whole overacting thing that everybody did then. Maybe I felt he underplayed it. I don't know. I'm not. It's not like I go to sleep at night and damn Jimmy Stewart.
Right.
It's just something that stood out for me.
John, he had just gotten back. He had actually, it was the first movie he did after he got back from the war.
That's right.
And he didn't want to do it.
Correct.
And it ended up being that Mr. Potter convinced him to do it.
Didn't want to do anything so fluffy. Thought it was, and even though he played it, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I guess
what did he want to do? He just wanted to kill Nazis? What did he want to do when he came back?
I know he didn't want to kiss Donna Reed.
What?
He was so nervous. He was so nervous about doing that scene that they delayed it several times. And then what you saw was the first take that they did, the first and only take they did. And he skipped about 15 lines. He was just so out of whack about kissing Donna Reed.
Well, when you've been overseas in a war and you've been kissing your bunkmate for a couple of years, you probably do get out of practice. The flip side of this, of course, is the worst Christmas specials. I think I have the ultimate list here, and I want you guys to tell me if you've seen any of these, okay? Mr. T and Emmanuel Lewis in A Christmas Dream.
No. Is that real?
It's real.
I don't even know that one.
1980s, Webster, Emmanuel Lewis plays a latchkey kid who can't get into the Christmas spirit. Mr. T plays a sidewalk Santa who ditches his Santa garb in the first 5 minutes to help Webster find his Christmas spirit and introduce him to his friends, who happen to be figure skaters Ty Babylonia and Randy Gardner, of course, and magician David Copperfield, ventriloquist Willie Tyler and Lester, and the Rockettes. Webster dances. He tells of the birth of Jesus and pontificates on whether or not the newborn infant smiled when he was born. Mr. T and Webster. I've never seen him.
Nope.
I didn't even know it existed.
I
I
think we can
lost you at
agree.
Willie Tyler and Lester.
What about He-Man and She-Ra, a Christmas special?
That one
No,
I know
thank you.
about. That's a
All
really
right, talk
good
to
one.
me. I haven't seen it either. Talk to me.
It's really good. Skeletor actually doesn't realize it, but slowly turns into a sympathetic kind of good guy. And then at the end, he's like, "What am I doing? Why am I being?" No, I don't even know if that's a good Skeletor, but he caught himself like, I'm being a nice guy, and that's how it ended. They kind of had a good laugh, but they were friends for that episode.
Says Skeletor kisses a puppy. The puppy gives Skeletor kisses, imbuing him with the Christmas spirit. He returns the kids to He-Man and Man-at-Arms. What is Man-at-Arms?
No.
That's
The
a
kids are
hotel.
sent
The
home
hotel?
after teaching good people of
hotel.
Eternia how to celebrate Christmas. Man-at-Arms, so
Ooh.
it's a hotel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Barry Manilow sang about it.
Grumpy Cat's worst Christmas ever? No, I don't think so.
Nope, don't know that.
No, that's that internet thing, right? The Grumpy Cat from the internet. Remember the original meme?
Wow.
This one is tremendous and a tearjerker. Alf's Christmas special.
No, thank you.
What every Christmas special needs, and this is absolutely what the plot was: a dying kid who won't make it to next Christmas and a suicidal old man. Alf saves the old man because he thinks Alf is the real Santa Claus. Though the Tanners don't have the decency to invite the old man to Christmas dinner when he brings Alf home. But a terminal kid is a little out of Alf's wheelhouse. The dying kid was based on a real life fan who died. So the special ends with an in memory of card. Nothing says Christmas quite like suicide and dead kids.
Good God, what the?
Wow. I didn't know that existed either. And now I have to go watch these.
About Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
That one's one of those so bad it's good kind of things. The only problem with it is it lasts for a very, very long time. But the guy who's Santa in that movie, John Call, is fantastic. He's great. And it's got a very young Pia Zadora in the movie.
Yes, that's right.
Isn't she 9 years old or something in that?
Something
film?
like that. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
My only exposure to this was our old pal Joel Hodgson on Mystery Science Theater.
Yes.
Because they did this movie.
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
How about Andy Williams and the NBC Kids Search for Santa?
No. Saw a lot of Andy, but not that one.
Yeah, I remember when he had his specials, his variety specials, but I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Andy Williams invites a handful of kids from NBC sitcoms, including Punky Brewster, the Cosby Kids, and the kids from Silver Spoons to travel with him to Finland, where they're going to track down Santa Claus. An old gentleman takes a gaggle of kids unrelated to him to a distant land with sketchy extradition laws to search for this figure. Seems like the police might be involved. Anyway, he doesn't even get them Christmas presents. Instead, love is what you're getting for Christmas, according to Andy's song to the kids, is all they got. And the kids pretended they weren't really heartbroken. But the one that really stands out is one you can still see on YouTube. It's the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Brutal.
It's
absolutely brutal. I mean,
you know any backstory on this, Mike? I mean,
a little bit. I know that George Lucas can't make it go away, and he wishes that he could.
Right.
And I know that there are these weird musical. First off, you see the opening to this, and it'll say featuring Chewbacca and his family, his wife Paula, and all these weird characters that they're making up. And there's a musical number, and the guests. It's like if you were making a pretend variety show with guest stars, Art Carney, B. Arthur, and these people are really on this show, and they do bad sketches, and B. Arthur does a musical number. It's frightening.
Yeah, B. Arthur sings with the Cantina Band.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher's singing the Life Day theme to the tune of the Star Wars theme. It only aired once on November 17th, 1978. And George Lucas and the cast have disavowed it and pretend it doesn't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
The wise men bring lightsabers.
So there you go. A little round the horn for terrible, terrible Christmas specials. Am I the only one who thinks anybody who ruins Santa for kids should go to jail for life?
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
Who usually does
Absolutely.
that is some other little kid whose parents told them or they figured it out, and then since it's ruined for them, they figure they got to ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah. And I got to give my siblings credit because I'm one of the younger kids of 7. I had siblings 9 and 10 years old, and they kept mum. They played the game real well. I think I would have been real PO'd had when I was 3 found out otherwise.
There's seven kids.
7 children in my family. I'm number 6.
Amish? I mean, I didn't know that about you.
No, we're not Amish or Polish Italian Catholics. See, that makes as much sense.
You're telling me right now that he doesn't exist? This is
Oh,
how
no,
I
I'm telling
find
you he does. I'm telling you he does.
Yeah, there are
He
people
does
who
exist.
say that it's not.
You know what I'm talking about, John. They're Trump voters.
Yes. Yes.
How about this? Am I the only one who thinks going out to buy gifts was more fun than ordering them online?
I like the option of doing it because sometimes you're like, I don't want to go out again. So you order a bunch of stuff. I still enjoy going out, but the balance is nice for me.
I would concur with that. I think going out to a degree is fun, but it's nice to have the option of ordering online.
Yeah.
Now that you get older, you get more tired. When you get older,
Oh,
you get
yeah.
more tired. You don't want to do that anymore.
It's funny, Steve, because I think I did quite a high percentage online, but I still have 3 shops that they're very specific little Christmassy shops that I still go to. I still have one to go to, and I'll do that when I come back from Ohio, where I'm huge.
You are big in Ohio. Where are you going to be playing in Ohio? You know, this podcast is heard everywhere. I don't know if you know that about podcasts.
Oh, that's right. I will be at the Funny Bone, the Columbus Funny Bone, where I'm at once a year, which is so much fun.
And that's this coming weekend as of the time we're recording this. What are those dates?
Those dates actually go from Wednesday. What is Wednesday? The 15th?
Well, it's next week.
No, this week.
No, it's this week. It is this week.
This is
Wednesday the 13th. The 13th through
13th, the 14th, 2 shows on the 15th, 2 on the 16th, and 1 on the 17th. Come back on the 18th.
So for you people listening in Columbus, please go see John. He's
Please
very big there. Very big. Traditions. Tell me what family traditions you guys had when you were kids.
Christmas traditions. My parents, we went out to a restaurant called the Homestead on Christmas Eve. After church, we would go to, I guess later on, because we would go to church in the morning early when I was younger. But then we switched to 5 o'clock mass on Christmas Eve. Then we go to this really nice restaurant where we had to dress up and wear a tie, the Homestead restaurant. And then in the morning, we weren't allowed downstairs until my parents woke up. Nobody could see the tree before they did, because there was always like one gift that was special that they couldn't, they couldn't wrap. So nobody could go down there. And then we all took turns opening presents. We just didn't go nuts. My mother would pass them out. She would play Santa, or my father would. And then we would open up those. We would go to my aunt's house, come home, and then go to my other aunt's. It was pretty much the same way every single Christmas. It was a lot of fun.
Tim?
I don't have many good memories of Christmas at John's house, but what we used to do.
Why weren't you at your own house?
Well, a couple times I was at John's house because Danny Thomas was there. I thought it was the famous Danny Thomas, but it was just his friend Danny Thomas.
Yeah, anyway, Danny. Yeah.
All right. So I think our tradition was having our face spit washed about 30 times in 2 days. We would get up. And I don't know why my dad always did this. We would go get haircuts on the morning of Christmas Eve. So then we would get home. Of course, we'd have to bathe, and Mom would scrub our faces down, and we'd get dressed, and we'd go to Grandma's house. We went to Grandma's house, and then we'd leave there to go to midnight mass. So of course, we got our faces scrubbed before we went to midnight mass. Then we would come home from midnight mass 1:30, and we would eat ham and Polish sausage.
Then go to bed. And for you people listening, nutritionists recommend definitely have ham and Polish sausage and get right to bed.
But Steve, there's more. After we ate Polish sausage, then we would go home. My folks did this by design. We opened presents at like 2:30 in the morning, and they just let us tear into them, whatever. Then we would all go to bed right after that. So Mom and Dad.
At noon?
No, well, gosh, we had presents, so we were up at 8:30 anyway. But mom and dad stayed in bed till 12, 1 o'clock.
So you would wake up without your parents being a part of the experience and open the presents.
No, we opened them at 2, 3 in the morning.
No, but your presents you open in the morning, you said.
No, we opened. We
you
opened them
all your presents at 2:30 in the morning.
Yes.
So then why are you getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning then?
To play with them.
Oh, to play with them.
Yeah. So mom and dad I think they did that by design. They could rest and we could go nuts and play with what we got for Christmas.
Did it occur to you and your siblings ever that maybe your parents are having sex?
Being the youngest one, I thought it was less of a chance. Especially after I was born, I didn't think they wanted to do that again. But
well, clearly they didn't know anything about birth control.
The Catholic creed, breed.
I'm just glad, Tim, you got an actual name. I would think by the time you get to 7, it would just be the number.
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe they just call you another Benker.
I'm the first child that wasn't named after a relative. So I think my name could have been Screw You, because my mother, she pissed everybody off because she didn't name me after anybody.
Oh, well, Mike, Toomey household?
Well, if we could go back to Tim's parents having sex on Christmas morning for just a moment, and then I will tell you mine.
Remember that time you walked in on him? Oh man,
that I walked in on Tim's parents. Yes. Yeah, and we were like 22 years old at the time. And remember when you lived on the north side?
Yeah, I remember all of this.
And I came over and I went to go to I thought it was the bathroom, and I opened up and I'm like, Tim, your parents are having sex in there. And he's like, oh, sorry about that. And then we laughed about it.
Nobody commits to the story more than Mike.
Exactly. And just so you know, my mom did ask, hey, where can I listen to this podcast?
And now you can't even tell her unless you cut that out. This isn't live.
Yeah, no, there's no editing.
What I remember Christmas was we always went to midnight mass, and then we moved to 7 o'clock mass. And I remember being a kid going, why is this so jammed tonight when it's not every other week when we come? Like I honestly couldn't put it together. It's like, are there fewer masses and everybody's got to go to this one? I honestly did not know that a lot of the Catholics would save it up for the Christmas.
That's when you learned about hobby Christians.
Yes, right. And
much different than the hobby. Much different than the hobby you described at the top of this show.
But we'd get home from mass and we would always have this rule. Okay, everybody gets to open one. And it never ended up being one. It ended up being all of the ones that we had wrapped, because our parents would keep some unwrapped and hold them back, and then we'd get those the next morning.
Oh, wow.
So they kind of knew we were going to open all of those, the ones that were.
Nice.
But the bigger ones didn't get wrapped. They would just show up under the tree.
As far as Christmas traditions go, I think we could just stay on this for a second, break back, because Tim's parents having sex makes me think of the fact that all of us at one point or another probably interrupted our own parents.
Actually, no, I never did, because I'm embarrassed to tell you how late in life I realized that you had to have sex each time you had a child. I thought, as a kid, they did it once, and it was how many eggs became fertilized, and that's how many kids you had. So for the longest time, I just assumed they did it once before any of us were born, and that was the end of it.
But I think it needs to be said in your defense. You were 40 when you figured it out. It wasn't that old.
I was 44.
Mike, you ever interrupt your parents?
Never. I didn't. It never even occurred to me that type of thing took place.
That type of thing. I actually, and I've made no secret of the fact that my parents enjoyed what we call the drink. And my father, when he would be loaded, could get a little rough. And one night I thought that he might have been harming my mother, because I heard sounds that sounded like possibly harm. And I couldn't have been more than 9 or 10 years old. And I stood outside and made up something about an intruder. There's someone outside, Dad. Come look. There's someone outside, Dad. Hurry. hurry, Dad. Hey. And he, after telling me to go to bed a few times, he came out in his tighty whities, no shirt, his glasses sort of cockeyed, his hair all askew. And he came out and shooed me off the bed. And I ruined his chance to get a little from Mom. That's sweet. Isn't that a sweet holiday story?
Yeah.
Talk about how his glasses were again.
It's all askew.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, that's
cockeyed.
what you were looking for. You were looking to hear askew.
Yeah, because you wanted me to say cockeyed, so I said cockeyed.
And it's funny. It's funny that he did to you what he did to your mom.
Yeah.
Hey, John, do you have the ticket information for New Year's? What time's that show?
That show is at 2:00, and it, of course, is on New Year's Eve at the Rouse Center in Crystal Lake. You can get tickets at rousecenter.org or call the box office directly at 815-356-9212.
ABT Electronics has given us a beautiful big screen, giant screen, size of a drive-in movie theater TV to give away.
For the game show, for our one lovely game show. How great is that ABT gives that up? That's so nice.
Remember, every time a dog barks, another TV is one. So that's good.
And Tim, I want everybody to know, Steve, as well, that I will, my hobby, making little small English cottages, I will have those available for sale after the show as well.
Set up your merch table?
I will set up my merch table.
What John's referring to, for those of you who don't have video, is he's holding up a small English cottage that he somehow crafted while we were talking about my parents having sex.
Correct.
And we should let everybody know we will have slides related to our parents having sex topic on New Year's Eve.
Yes. I once went to jail for holding up a small English cottage.
All right, let's talk about toys for a second, because one of the things that's great about having grandkids, Mike, is you get to go toy shopping again.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be all screens. There's tons of cool stuff out there. But more importantly than our children or our grandchildren, let's talk about us. John, what was your favorite toy when you were a kid? Do you have one that stands out?
Yeah, favorite toy was electric football. And the only thing I was disappointed, I was so excited to get it, but the only thing I was disappointed was it came with the Cleveland Browns and I think it was the New York Giants. So I took it upon myself to paint the Giants into the Bears. I actually bought paint and turned them into Bears.
That's pretty
cool.
good.
Yeah. That was I played with that.
Do you remember any of the plays that you ran, I should say?
Yeah.
I remember I had electric football too, and the play we always ran was turn it on and watch them run into each other. Did you have that play?
Right.
Jay, my favorite play was
How is a guy supposed to pass? I never understood the passing part of that game.
well, they later on they came, mine didn't have this, but later on they came with the quarterback who could actually throw it. And you just had to get close, and whoever touched it first got it.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Because I was thinking when you threw it, it had to hit your guy.
No.
But no, just the closest person.
Correct.
Mm.
Yeah. It was really bad, but it was fun to play. I played it all the time.
Wow. Speaking of sports, mine was Stratomatic baseball. And I could play that for hours and hours and hours. Now I, of course, would need a translator since all players are Spanish. But each there was a deck of cards. And what is there? 400 players in the bigs? I don't know, more than that probably. But there was these decks of cards, and they would have statistics, but it was much more detailed than a baseball card would have been back then. And then you would roll the dice, and the dice would determine what that player did in a particular at bat. And as a pitcher, you had some control over it as well. I could play that for hours for two reasons. One, because it was a really cool game, and two, because obviously I had no friends.
I had a similar game to that, but it was called APBA. It was you got an envelope with every team, and each player had a card, and it was based on the roll of the dice. But it was surprisingly accurate as far as statistics and things like that.
It would literally take 4 or 5 hours to play one 9-inning game. But I became, and I'm not making this up, I became an expert in math and numbers to the point where I was a math major. I have no problems with numbers or any levels of math now, all because I was so wrapped up in baseball statistics when I was a kid.
Hey, that's great, though.
Do you still have any of that?
Stratomatic baseball or the skill?
And well, the skill, of course, but do you still have the game or the cards?
I do not, but you can buy it.
Yeah.
Somebody saw it on Amazon the other day. We were talking about it on the radio. That would be on 89 WLS mornings 5:30 to 9, at least until the end of the year. You can buy it. I think it's $60 or $70. It was probably $8 when my parents bought it, but loved it.
Nice.
Loved it. What about you, Tim? Favorite toy?
Hot Wheels. We used to have the supercharger. It was a little, it looked like the pit building, and you just ran the car through it, and it would come shooting out the other side. And we would make ovals, and after a while, we would have 2 superchargers, so it would get halfway around, just enough steam to get to the other supercharger, and make it around the other half again. What was great about that was we had so many cars to run on the oval. We would almost have like a ceremony. We would line up all the cars, and then we would see the ones that would do the best. Some of them wouldn't make it to the other supercharger, so they got trashed. And probably the best part about that was Hot Wheels were still around when Jordan was born in 1991. So Jordan ended up getting the next generation of Hot Wheels.
Jordan is your son, not Michael Jordan. You're not Michael Jordan's father.
I am not. Cliff Levingston is my adopted.
I was waiting for Cliff Levingston.
But so no, Jordan, my son Jordan. So he got the next generation, and Dylan, my younger son, in 2002, he got Hot Wheels. So I think I've played it a few times in the last 5 years. So I still get to enjoy that today.
You guys remember SST racers?
Yes.
SST
right? Racers.
Was it SST or SSP? Yeah, we pulled the thing in the middle.
Yeah.
Had the ripcord, and when you pulled the ripcord out, it could slice your arm off.
Yes.
And the cars were hard, pointy, dangerous metal, and they would go really fast. And the idea would be to put them on the floor so they go fast enough to run into your brother and cut his calf. You guys played it that way, right?
Right.
Right.
But they knew that we did that, and that's when they made the smash up derby with those cars. Remember? They crash, and then the pieces, like the fenders, would fall off, and the cars would fall apart, and then you put it back together. It was a demolition derby.
Yeah. The handy thing is they broke apart into pieces small enough to swallow.
Right. Yeah. Which always made it more fun, more of a challenge.
True. What about you, Mike?
Any of the sports games. I love the hockey game, where you could pull the guys out and twirl them around. We had the Stanley Cup hockey, where we had a little miniature replica of the cup. Right. And the 2 teams, I remember we had the Rangers and maybe Flyers or something like that. It was not the Blackhawks in that. That was the rub there. But that one, we got a ton of play out of that game.
And did you use the ball bearing puck or the black?
Just the black puck. Did not have the ball bearing in the center. It was just the puck.
Okay.
And it traveled pretty good.
Yeah, they did.
Ball bearing puck, but I never used that. And it's the same thing. When I got my rod hockey game, it was the same thing, Mike. You're absolutely right. I was Toronto and Montreal, and it really upset me. So I bought that. Tim, you've played this, my newer game.
Right.
New game, Stiga, made out of Sweden. I bought it like 8 years ago, and I have probably 20 teams, and they have the black, and they're all hand painted and 3-dimensional, and I still have that game.
Oh wow!
So 3D. What happens? You run the players on the rods and then reinstall the rods?
No. The players spin around. You put them on the rods, go back and forth, and they can spin around.
But how do you change teams?
You pull off the stem.
You just pull them off the stem and put the other ones on.
So like a summer barbecue, like like vegetables and beef on a skewer.
Right. Yeah. But the one they use for international tournaments, and the goalies go 360, and they go into the. It's really cool. It's a good set. Cost me $165.
Right.
Worth every penny. Worth every penny. We actually have the game you're describing, Mike. We have that at WLS. Yeah. In the performance lounge that we use, where bands can play, and of course, where the Beatles played their final concert.
that machine.
And it
Let me
had
do-
the Stanley Cup replica where you could. It had a thing overhead where you dropped
Yep.
the puck, and it was kind of
Yep.
started the face off.
It would make like a zigzag all the way down and then drops.
Yes.
That was the best. That was
These
the
are
best.
good times. Let me jump to New Year's Eve here. We've been doing this show for 21 years, and we thank you for your constant support and the fact that it'll sell out again this year. And regardless of the fact that you're not paying enough for tickets are far too cheap. And if you go to rousecenter.org, RAUE, right, John?
Yes, RAUE center.org.
And remember, there is a limit to as many as you want per family, and we've got to have limits, otherwise we'd have a problem. But again, that limit is as many as you want, and get those for that 2:00 show. And then stick around after, because after we get together and have a good old-fashioned barn dance. What? I don't know what I'm talking about. I've been up since 3:30. So, but it's going to be great. So, I've been working New Year's Eves for a long time. I think it's part of doing comedy. You're going to work the holidays. You guys got any special memories of working on holidays, working New Year's Eve, working Christmas? People you worked with, great shows you had?
Well,
Bitterness because you were working?
I made it a tradition. I never liked working New Year's Eve. I did one, and I never liked working I'll say in the club, because the clubs were raucous on New Year's all the time. And it wasn't a show. It was a show that happened to pop up during their party. So I don't work on New Year's. I try not to work on Halloween. I try not to work about 11 months out of the year, and then just the rest of the time I'll do a few shows.
Man, I also think, Tim, that's a terrific promo for working this New Year's Eve. That you're going to hate.
I said the clubs. The theater is fantastic.
Oh,
we've been doing it a long time.
How about you guys?
Boy, I was just thinking about this. I would totally agree with Tim. Prior to 2001, which is when your first New Year's Eve. Prior to that, I used to hate it because we'd have to end the show right at midnight. And I remember hosting at Zanies with Gilbert Gottfried, who went way over. And everybody knew he went over. And I had to go up and lie that we had an official clock that somehow was 14 minutes. It just go. But here's the weird thing. I think I have this right. For the Cochran New Year's Eve show, it's our 21st show.
21 years.
I'm the only one, that includes Steve, that has been to every single New Year's Eve show.
Wow. That's true. That's true. I actually missed 2 of these.
Yeah.
2 of my own shows. One was because of COVID. The other was my daughter had a car accident. She's okay.
Right.
But that was the afternoon of the show. And John was there for all of them. So really, we ought to call it the John DaCosse New Year's Eve, shouldn't we?
Well, and that's kind of why I brought it up. And please keep in mind making these for everyone to buy. But yes, and I was not supposed to be on that show, Steve. That was the one show I was not booked on, and I was called in at the last second because you couldn't make it. So how weird is that?
Now look at the love connection. Now we're all together all the time. You're the musical director for the radio show on WLS. It just kind of worked out, didn't it?
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah. And Mike, we should mention that you guys at Channel 9 are still the #1 rated morning show and morning television all across America.
Yeah, which is crazy, right?
And you're on every morning at 9:00 and throughout the show at different times. I caught you doing sports this morning.
And tomorrow as well, even though this won't be running, but yes, tomorrow as well. There's a couple times where I'm reading a name going, please let me be saying this right. Let me be pronouncing this hockey name correctly.
Because people have stuck this out with us, I'm going to give a little inside information. At the end of the show, we always salute a sister city. So, for instance, this year we'll wrap up about 4:00. So where in the world, 8 hours later, will it be about to be midnight? And then we do our Old Lang Syne tribute to that particular city. John, do you want to tell them the city, or you want me to do it?
Go ahead, Steve. I think I can pronounce this. Just a little heads up. I also made this Stein from the German city that we chose.
Oh, that's nice. Very nice. It is a German city, and we're saluting this year. I'm going to spell it for you, then I'll pronounce it. FEUCHTWANGEN. That's right. When we wrap up the show this year, it'll be Happy New Year, Fruchtwagen.
What is the English translation to that?
Wagon where my parents had sex.
Yes.
Thank you for the setup. Appreciate it. All right, boys. Any other holiday memories or things you'd like to share?
No, just it gets different every year. I'm envious of both you and Mike because you have grandkids, which it gets it going again. It means, it's like, oh, this can be exciting. It's new for them. So, I have my dogs, and that's all.
Well, that's great. We could end on an upbeat note. Tim, anything from you?
I'm excited that I don't have to do the family shuttle anymore. When the boys were young, we used to have to go to my side of the family, her side of the family, Christmas Eve, my side of the family, hers, and then finally enough is enough. No more commotion, no more ruckus. Just one day, one family, the other day, the other family, and that's it. Take it or leave it.
So outside of having to work on New Year's Eve, which you've established you hate, and your bitterness about carpooling holidays in the past, you're going to be nothing but fun on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, he's happy.
That's right. I will bring my bag of curmudgeon.
Watch on social media where we all live because we have to. It's not that we like it. We have to. We'll have some additional information coming. We have special guests for this show. Andrea Darlis and Nick DiGilio. I think Jane Klaus will be there. And there might even be a man named Skilling involved with this show this year.
Wow, that's impressive.
So we're excited about that. And
any word back from Jim J. Bullock? Is he going to? Is he still doing it?
Jim J. Bullock Jim J. Bullock said hard pass.
Oh boy.
And I thought it was a reference to the game you'd mentioned, the hockey game. But no, that's it's going to be a great afternoon. 2:00 on New Year's Day. John, if you could tell us one more time how to get tickets.
No problem. You go to RAUCenter.org. That's RAUE Center.org, or call the box office directly at 815-356-9212.
So we always try to give you charitable mentions on every episode of Live from My Office. Here on this final episode of 2023, we're just going to give you a blanket pledge again, or I should say blanket ask again, to support an organization or a charity that means a lot to you. Could be a church, could be wherever you worship, could be a charitable cause that you've contributed before, maybe one you've heard about. And certainly money is an issue, especially during the holidays. But if you can contribute volunteer hours or maybe whatever skill you have in life to help out as a volunteer, that's a big deal too. So I guess what I'm saying here is it's the holidays. Give with your heart. Thank you to Miranda for filling in. That's Miranda Ellis. Ask for her by name for filling in for Ross Cochran again to produce Live from My Office. And I hope you had or are having a very happy holiday season. And we look forward to seeing you at the Rouse Center. It's New Year's Eve at the Rouse Center. New Year's Eve's kind of a stretch. It's 2 p.m. But we guarantee you're going to laugh and have a great time. One last time for tickets, RAUCenter.org, RAUE Center.org. And we'll see you back on the radio as well for a big year in 2024. At least I think. I should sign that contract. All right, see you next time on Live from My Office.
30 years plus on the airwaves, you have turned your dial to me. Now you're tuned into my podcast. It's Live from My Office, Steve. From Ithaca, New York, to Carolina South, W. Cochran, Steve. From Minneapolis and then Chicago twice, top-rated shows achieved. Sit back, relax, and now listen to my show. When or wherever you are, 'cause you're on the go. A-list celebs with some laughs and great info. Live from my office, the Steve Cochran Podcast Show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No better place to be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Subscribe and like for free. with me. It's live from my office, Steve.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.